So we are to the end of the Netflix chunk of our little togetherness here. This is the first version, or no, I should say second version of how Neon Genesis Evangelion ends according to Anno. And I had an article pop up on my Facebook from Anno, and I can't remember exactly. It might have been the New York Times. I don't remember what it was. But it said, quote unquote, how Anno finally found his ending. And the very first line underneath it was, but maybe I'll see these characters again someday. So we might even have more after the rebuild films, baby!
It's like he can't escape this franchise. It is a part of him.
In a way, I kind of feel bad about that. Like, it's like those actors who get kind of stuck within their careers because they're only known for that one movie, and they were never able to escape that. It's just
it is, but he kind of weirdly is
enjoys
the one
it.
Doing it. I don't. If he enjoys it, maybe, but he's for surely the one doing it to himself.
It feels that way, at least.
I have a feeling he could do whatever he wanted, anywhere. But just for some reason, he finds Shinji interesting.
He's like, he should have enough clout to do anything.
He does, sadly.
And yet, you keep going back. I mean, like, now that he's gotten, like, his way of telling Evangelion, just do something else. Maybe go back to Ghibli or something and tell them, like, hey, I have a movie idea or something. I don't know. Like,
I'd like to see him do some kind of slice of life anime where it's just some regular run of the mill kids having regular day problems during the week, just to see if he could do it.
Oh no, there's an angel attacking Tokyo. And the prom's tomorrow.
And Tommy wants to call us Cynthia. Anyway, Mike, synopsis for end of thing.
Try to recap this. I dare you.
It'll be easier than last time.
According to Google, Nerv faces off against the 18th angel, humanity itself. But in the end, the fate of the world depends upon Shinji's choices. That is an understatement.
Yep.
This movie is a lot. I think, barring the very final shot, I'd say the experience of watching End of Evangelion is more satisfying and actually feels like a proper conclusion than the actual episode 26.
Well, let's see. When did Shinji take the longest time to ever kill an angel with the kid or the guy
that was 24, if I'm not mistaken.
That was 24.
So this takes place. So this basically says 25 and 26 didn't happen. And,
it's a new version of 25 and 26.
Yep.
Well, it delivers on everything to a degree that it set out to do. You see the mass-produced angels. You Gendo actually does something with the creepy hand thing. Ugh.
Yeah, the hand is creepy. That's
Yeah. I guess we kind of know what Anno thinks about the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me, because I don't think it was obvious.
I don't think it was either. I think he doesn't like him that much.
Oh.
I can't tell though. It's weird.
I just can't tell. Mass shootings and
just killing people while they're alive instead of being like, hey, maybe these people could be useful and bring them back in. No, just murder everyone.
Kill the unarmed without restraint as a direct order.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? At the end, towards the end of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, the Guardians of the Universe basically just say, fuck it, humanity sucks. We're done with you people.
This just reminds me so much of the time period of like the late 80s, early 90s when a bunch of OVAs were coming out where it was just humanity sucks. So we're just going to make hateful characters and they're going to die horribly. Like someone taking a blender and just mashing up all the humans. Basically that Blood C plus or whatever that anime is called.
Oh,
if you know what I'm talking about with the bunnies, well,
yeah.
look it up at your own accord. And I get what they're doing with Shinji, but one of the first things we do see him do.
Wait, Mike. I want to hear Mike's opinion on that because you knew that was going to happen.
Wait, hang on. Ask me the question.
What is your opinion of the very first thing that Shinji does in his meeting with Asuka?
Shinji, I swear, so many times I just really lost my patience with him watching this.
There's just like, I get what they're trying to go for, that he's so pathetic, so broken beyond repair, which is already depressing that this kid is only 14 and there's just, but then he does that thing and it's like, that doesn't make me want to feel for Shinji. That's creepy. That's so creepy.
The worst part about this, and as far as Shinji's concerned, even most of the characters outside of Masato a little bit, they may have brought it up with characters as a way of dealing with other things, but Shinji's core problem has never been about sexual feelings towards anyone.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
No one's has. Like Masato was, she had problems where she wanted to feel dirty, and that's when she did this stuff with Kaji.
Mm.
And Ritsuko got whatever weird pheromone that Gendo shits out whenever he's around people that made her want to be with him. But it's just, they always, whenever it gets into this, have this weird fascination with putting all these sexual themes around Shinji when it's never been his issue. It's been his self-confidence and hating himself. I get that you could use sex to get to that point, but that's never been his issue.
No. And it's just like, oh, so he's just kind of having a panic mode, and then they show his hand, and it's like, oh, no.
Yeah, don't leave it up to assumption. A, show the actual semen on his hand, and then B, have Asuka bring it up later, because God knows we didn't get that that's what happened.
Yeah, just seeing that and then...
Wait a minute. The best thing happened, though, before all of this hell started. The 1 minute long logo parade.
Have we ever figured out why Sega has anything to do with these movies?
I have not been able to find anything.
No.
I guess they were literally just cashing in a check.
I would imagine. Because I'm
know,
waiting, like, do you have a Sonic coin noise in the background of an Ava fight? Or like, what the fuck?
Or like a Sega Genesis or something? Like, just something? But no. It's just all those logos.
Wait. Hold on. Doesn't, in the main series, Asuka's friend that she stays with that one night play a Sega?
Possibly.
I have to go back and watch that episode. I have to find
because they play a game system.
Yeah. It might have been.
It's right after she gets rejected as an Ava pilot, but before she goes like full like comatose about it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wait, yeah. Now that you mention it, I do vaguely remember, like some sort of Sega parody.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. It's like how you can see like a Switch or something, and it's just like, oh, it's not a Switch. It's from Nintendo.
Yeah, it's Nintendo. Yeah. I also love that the code lockdown they go into had to be code 666.
Yeah.
We haven't had a-
Subtlety.
We haven't had a
Non-existent.
devil reference yet, but
We'll get there in a minute because once you see Unit 1 become
bat.
that
one of the coolest looking things in animation ever in that shot.
Well, it's like, so we get to the point. So the military basically has a coup, and then basically wants to kill everyone at Nerve and take the Avas for their own use. And then Asuka is basically like, okay, get Asuka the hell out of the hospital beds, put her in Unit 2, send her to the bottom of the ocean with Ariel and the crab.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shinji, I get what they're doing with Shinji, but it's like he was a little too useless and just like, me, I can't do anything. Me.
Where do I die?
But it does reinforce that Misato was the best character. Again,
she is easily the best character.
She is easily the best character, but man, later.
And okay, so let's get to the part where like
we'll get there.
Let's get to that point. Actually, let's get to that point. So Misato basically forces Shinji to be like, listen, I know you're busted. I'm sorry you're broken. I'm sorry your dad's a pain in the ass. But you have to go out there, get in your Ava unit, and take down the military that's trying to kill everyone here. Kisses him. And it's like, yeah, that's a grown-up's kiss. We'll do this later.
We'll do the rest when you make it back.
I mean, it's creepy. I kind of see what they're going with it, where it's just like, hey, you're a dumb teenager. Your hormones will make sure you go through this. Fine, let's do that. I'll promise whatever, even though that's not great, at least in context in the U.S. and such.
Oh, I get that, but man, so much of this show and what they go for would be just so much more okay if they were like 17.
Exactly. They didn't have to be so young.
They're still not adults, but they're on the cusp of it.
No, it's like they're 14. This is creepy. I know what they're doing with this, but it doesn't negate the fact that it's creepy. And
yeah,
I've seen, I forgot what this Evangelion ripoff was called, but they go full tilt into that because like, yeah, that's hot. And it's like, no, that's creepy. And it's, I
will never understand why in Japan the standards are so unstandard.
Like I showed these, I don't know if I showed you guys that, but I sent a meme to my buddy that I watched the second half with all in one shot. And it's an image of Asuka or of Misato photoshopped with her hands on her forehead in a house. And Chris Hansen is coming in with the crew for Dateline. and it says, so it says here you kissed him and you said we'll do the other adult stuff later.
God.
It doesn't ruin her sacrifice, but it's just different. It's not even.
It's a weird moment.
It's weird. It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
And then the kick of it all, the punchline of it all, Shinji still doesn't get into freaking robots.
Yes. Well, this time because he physically can't, which is like his fault. But we're skipping over like a little bit of stuff to get like Ritsuko gets in, has a cool moment with her mom, all that. And we get with Ray down into the basement. And they have some reason where somehow, as a disembodied brain, Ritsuko's mom still has got the chance to hop on that Gendu Ikari slung and rejects her daughter to shut down and goes, no, kill her, please.
Good
that
Lord.
Part was so messed up. I mean, what is with these people finding Gendo the most interesting man in the world?
And the worst part is, later, Gendo openly says, I don't understand how anyone can like me. I'm a terrible person.
It only took you 26 episodes to come to that conclusion.
Wait, Am I a bad dad?
It's like
Huh.
I've known all along, but I never turned them down. Oh no. But yeah, so then to add on to the creepiness, before we get to Shinji actually getting into the mech, because there is a bunch of Misato getting him to there, which is the basis for all this, which is awesome. And also, we have the one time in between here where N2 mine was actually effective, where they dropped it on the base of the thing to open up the window or open up the top.
That thing was. When did that thing become so effective? Was it just a bigger mine, or
when it's not used against an angel?
Thank God we didn't make a drinking game out of how many times the N2 failed.
One, they have like 300 of them and it doesn't work.
Golly. That thing, boom!
Yeah, and then you get the moment where it's just like, I also love where it's like, no, don't worry. It's just a physical impact. We put up the magnifiers and we will survive. As it zones out to show the entire Earth and it's just like, I'm like, yeah. That just doesn't affect you because it's only a physical bomb.
No, yeah.
Are you living on a metaphysical plane? What I was going to say was the creepy moment before we get to everything else that happens. Like, I understand where the heart is located on a woman's body, but you have him insert Adam through her boob.
Right. Well, by the way, Ray, we're talking about.
Yes, we're talking about Ray. Through her chest, and then it cuts as it looks like he's going down to her vagina, but he stops in her stomach like an ethical human being. And then she chops his hand off. But
well, I think this was the part where in the chat I said, Gendo, what the fuck you doing?
It could have been.
Well, it's like know. Well, it's interesting because this reminds me, I don't know if either of you have seen Paprika, the Satoshi Kon film.
I'm pretty sure I have.
It's been a while. There's this one, okay, well, spoilers and whatever. There's this one scene where one of the dual antagonists is being a massive creep in the same way Gendo is to Ray, to the main character. And he puts his hand on her and then right where the below the stomach area, pushes his hand through, moves his hand upward and takes off the persona character skin disguise of the main female lead, and it just opens up like someone unzipping a costume. But here it's just it's just so much creepier. Oh gosh, I mean, and there's subtext to it. I understand. It's just
just so much.
And it might meant to be unsettling, but come on.
We had enough of that with all the senseless slaughter of all the nerve people. But
this was so chaotic for that. Oh my gosh, just I forgot where it was for what the joke is, but it's just these. It's they're making fun of when SWAT team members go in or policemen barge into a drug den or something, and they just shoot everyone, and then someone says, "You're all under arrest."
Yes. And there was great moments surrounding this, Asuka.
Yes.
When she finally has her activation and her Ava Angel actually activates itself, I was like, it's an awesome moment. But the thing that was weird for me is those cross spikes only ever come up when the angel itself does something.
So
that was me kind of the angel woke up and was just letting her pilot it kind of thing.
Apparently.
I guess, yeah. Because then that happens again with Shinji in Unit 1.
With Shinji again, yeah. And she kicks the shit out of all those mass-produced Avas.
That was cool. That was a great scene. Just seeing her kick ass. I know
this is the Asuka that I like. The one that's okay, I'm gonna get in there and I'm just gonna keep whooping ass.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just great. Just watching her tear through all of those mass-produced Avas until they pull the bullshit plot card.
They do.
Oh, you mean when they unplug her her umbilical cable?
Yes.
No, that.
Yeah.
But then it's she kicked so much ace, and then one of those blade things turns into the spear of what is it?
Longinus.
Longinus, according to them.
Longinus,
Yes.
or as Malcolm McDowell would say, Longinus.
Yes.
And then gets killed, and then it's like, oh, those mass-produced Avas are actually A-OK. No explanation why or how.
They just pop right back up. They're perfectly fine.
It's like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm missing part of my skull, but I can still work.
Yeah, we were mass-produced, and we're 1,000 times better functionally sound than these Avas that take years to develop.
I guess, like, were those like those like AI dummy plugs going into them?
Yes, I believe so.
That's what I thought, and then it's like kind of gruesome. Well, first of all, I noticed that they changed the Ava designs a little in these, like, and not just the mass-produced ones, but the like Unit 2 and Unit 1. Those shoulder pad things are like much shorter than what they were in like the main show. The main show had them up at like the tips on Batman's head, like mask,
and the face is different too.
It looked a little more like an Ultraman suit or something kind of like that.
Yeah, they also gave them weapons they never had.
Like
the show,
the spikes. But hey, you can count on the trusty box cutter knife
with refillable blades this time.
Yeah. Oh,
look how she pulled it like a samurai this time, but yet it's still a fucking box cutter.
By the way, why does Nerve have no security system? You think with like protecting the end of the possible end of the world way deep in the basement of Lilith, you would think they'd have like gun turrets, or like someone have played like what is that old Peter Molyneux dungeon real-time strategy game, like
oh Lord,
like where it's like it's like the main goal is to make all the traps and such and get all the minions and monsters and such.
No, it's not a layer. What the hell is it?
Well, it's like there's like the dungeon franchise and War of the Underworld. It's that kind of thing.
They did mention in the show that Zile and them cut their funding for defense systems toward the end to make it seem like they thought this coup was going to happen, which to a degree I guess makes sense. They needed it to happen, but man,
when has Gendo ever said like fine, slash the budget instead of just being like, okay, we're off mic with them. Make sure there are just bombs everywhere, so just in case we see them or something. Just like
this is the point of where it's also like, why did they have better defense systems? Because plot.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I kind of get it, but
yeah.
But man, I felt so mad, and I get it. It was the point like when Asuka like basically gets slaughtered by the mass-produced Avas. Yeah, ripped apart. Just. Oh, that's an ugly scene. I mean, this whole film's animation is great. I wish the show looked this great all the time.
Same.
It's crazy when you have your budget the whole time what it can look like.
And by the way, when they did all the logo stuff, did you notice that like Gynax got the like little corner spot where it's just like big bombastic logos, and then it's like
Gynax.
We're here too.
Yeah.
Kind of started it. It's okay. You're probably giving us money because we ran out, but it's okay.
And oh gosh, this film has great visuals. Just like a lot of cool looking moments, like seeing the mass-produced Avas holding like the corpse of Unit 2
when they're flying around like buzzards in the sun.
Yeah.
Above
it. Gosh, like it's a cool looking movie. Like I don't know why I was kind of ready to like feel depressed and hate this whole thing for some reason, and then it's just like. I felt more hooked, and maybe it's just because they had more of a story to work with instead of having to force a Shinji, life is going to be pain and joy. You kind of have to find your way of maneuvering through life like that.
Mm-hmm.
But here,
they still kind of do that, but it's a movie, so they get to put more pizzazz in there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine being those three tech people and then seeing the giant ray coming out of the floor.
The one that it comes through, and she's like,
Yeah, like it's like, oh, okay, they don't pay me enough for this. Bye. Like,
Yeah. And when she pops up, there's another joke where there's the picture where you see Ray in front and like the other part of her is Kaori behind her. So it looks like Ray's here and Kaori's behind her and Shinji's right here. Anyone who is not a part of the Evangelion memes subreddit, go now because it's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. It's like, and the caption underneath it was, when poor boy gets cuckolded by his ex-boyfriend with his current girlfriend.
Good lord. These memes have been a riot.
It's the best. Oh, it's great. Those people are out of control. There's a couple of people that make a good chunk of them and post them. Go, you'll have a ball for days.
yeah.
But that symbolism of her getting huge and then playing, I don't know who sings it, but the song's called It All Comes Tumbling Down. That was one of the best uses of a song in an anime ever.
Yeah.
It's not on the nose like all the stuff that was in the actual show. Like this was like actually felt like someone put thought into what was going into it. It hits every time. Oh, I love it.
It was like, yeah, it definitely seems like Ano had more power to like process all of this of like what he wanted to do. I don't know, maybe he did when Gainax was making the show. I don't know. I haven't read anything about how he wanted to tackle this or why he wanted to redo the ending again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, God, like it's just all the visuals with the big Ray coming out with the eye, the creepy close-up eyes. Oh,
ooh. That close-up shot of the eye will probably be burned in my brain forever.
Or them making all the symbols in space of like the tree and everything, and the Ava's like crucifying it up in the sky, and
they're turning into the tree of like the literal tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's talk about how everyone turns into pulpy orange Kool-Aid.
It's a very strange visual, but it is effective.
It is effective. They see what they wanted to see before they go, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's also like, oh golly. And then it's like those stupid bureaucrats who are just like, now we let all this happen. The third impact will happen. And then I guess my fetish was I wanted to turn into orange goop. I don't know.
This is one of those things, like, I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil series, but every single one of the Resident Evil people, whenever they try and enact their big plan, never realize that they can't come back.
Yeah.
Like, they're always just like, all right, giant squid, here we come. Boom! All right, I killed him. Shit.
By the way, speaking of Resident Evil, how funny is it that DC Douglas, a.k.a. Albert Wesker, is the same
it's
son of a gun?
The same thing.
Really?
And he was a machine the whole time? I guess.
Wait, was he?
Part. Well, like when I don't know, and I forget parts of this film. The whole middle, I forget. Like the middle chunks of the last film, I forget. But when it cuts away from him, he had like a mechanical like abdomen cord and all this random bullshit that was like there, and
I didn't see any of that. What the heck?
You might have to go back and watch it because damn it. When he fades away, there's a bunch of mechanical horse shit that was in his chair.
Oh God. Is this what? Oh no! Now I'm thinking about Big O season 2, and I do this kind of thing with like the informant to Roger Smith. Context for the Big O. Roger Smith would always go to this bar, and he would like give money to this informant about like whatever case he was working on. And then at the very final episode, you find out that the informant was a robot, and it's like, okay,
sure, whatever,
fine. Golly,
yeah,
people, so many people, so many shows wanted to be Evangelion back then. Oh my gosh.
Hey,
that's one of the problems with popularity is that it breeds very well-intentioned but clearly misfiring imitations.
And the worst part is the show they wanted to be in its first and what looks like second incarnations didn't know what it wanted to be. So
I need this answered. So like Shinji gets morphed into the Tree of Life, the big Ray Angel thing with the other guy who
Kaoru.
yeah, Kaoru.
And Captain Important.
Yeah. So what would have happened if Shinji just said like, no, I just want everyone to like, what were they just waiting for Shinji to decide if he wanted the world to be saved or whatever? Like, I kind of lost track. The dialogue in this film, like, and just like with Evangelion in general, it's hard for me to process all the time, and I feel stupid part of the time doing so.
The problem is the way I feel about this, because I feel like I have the same problem, and this could be just white man's going to dumb down thinking. I don't think it's that we're stupid and we lose track of it. I think that they have the scene down, but they have to make that scene last 10 minutes.
Because it's like
they just stretch out the thought for that long, and we're like, okay, we said it, but it's 10 minutes long. Okay, we need to think of a 10-minute way to say a 5-word sentence.
So
yeah, the show has this problem kind of a lot.
So like was like Lilith or whatever the thing at the end was to say like, so Shinji, here are 2 buttons. One of them is to just screw the earth, just gone from existence. The other one is you want to live, so we'll bring back humanity. And this bonus 3rd button is if you want some salted caramel. So
yeah, I honestly think it was not exactly a press button, but like if Shinji it always seemed to me kind of like they had a timer to take Shinji completely down. And then if they got to a point of trying so hard and they just couldn't do it, that Shinji had kind of outlasted it type of thing. Or it could have been they got that far and then he finally pressed the button. There was never they finally just get to the end and it's like, do you want to live? No. But why do you have hands? I don't want to live. But why do you have a heart? I don't want to live. But do you have a purpose? I do. I want to live. Like
I want to make friends. And
yeah, it's like you can't hate people because you hate yourself, and then you do worse things to yourself. The worst part about this is for everything and how we've said we don't get it sometimes. All of us understand parts of what it's trying to say. It's just trying to make it sound a lot more, what I want to say, complicated than what it is. Because I get 1,000% what Asuka was trying to say, because one part of why I hate Shinji is I should say how Shinji's portrayed is because I used to act like that. The whole you treat yourself worse because it's worse than what everyone else could do to you, so it's this. I used to do that to a T. So I get it, but man,
the way it comes, it's just the way it comes across. It really just kind of touches a nerve.
Yeah, it does. Your nerve.
No, it's like I understand what they're trying to do, but part of me it's just like there's like a little hitch or a glitch that like derails, and maybe it's because I have ADHD or something like that. Because it's
I hear you.
And it's weird because I can totally perfectly understand what happens in like something like Children of the Sea, and that film's 3rd act gets like bonkers, universal, philosophical, metaphorical stuff, and I get that. But with Evangelion, it's
like you said, some shows know how to operate with a scalpel versus a sledgehammer, and I still think that Anno was still in a weird place when he redid this, because there's some reports that Anno was kind of irritated with how visceral some people were at the ending of it, to where he was still kind of angry and not in the right mind space when he made this. So he kind of still had an idea of what he wanted, but he was still kind of like not laser focused because he wasn't completely still had the irritation of how other people saw the other part of Ava done. And I'm interested to see if there's this amount of just explosion of expositing at the end and this just information overload, or if it's more of a tight-knit, like laser-focused thing to see if that's just how Anno talks all the time. That's how he writes, or if that was just the headspace he was in.
That's a good question, because I'm looking at the runtime for Rebuild 3.0.1
plus Thrice Upon a Time, I believe it's called.
Yeah. So the runtime is 155 minutes.
Yeah!
So.
Oh my god. Oh, I actually had a heart palpitation. Oh my god.
So it's very possible that Otto's brain just is wired differently than most people, or most like neurotypicals.
Well, it just reminds me of like why I don't always gel with Mamoru Oshii. Like in some of his stuff, like like people would know him. He directed like the first Ghost in the Shell film, and he also helped co-direct the Jinro, the Wolf Brigade film.
Okay. And
I get those. And for some reason, the dense dialogue and how everyone talks does not bother me there, but it bothers me here. And they by the end of it, they basically redo the whole thing at a 26th episode by saying like, Shinji, listen, life sucks. You gotta just take it and enjoy both the pain and the joy. And then I guess like Unit 1 kills the big Ray Angel thing.
Like it wins from within, and because it couldn't beat him, it gets whatever. How do I want to phrase this? Because you and me are on the same exact wavelength as far as like this this dialogue is. Do you think it's because, and I've seen the first Ghost of Shell, but it's been a while.
Yeah. It's been ages for me too.
Yeah, and Wolf's Brigade I have not seen. Is it because dense dialogue, one thing or another, there's just especially in Ava episodes, and that's especially, there's just so much of it at once. You don't get to properly process the previous sentences before there's another unloading of the sentences after.
I think
that's
that might
what
be
it
the
is
problem
for me.
I think it is for me too. And again, though, I get it. Sometimes it doesn't bother me, but when it bothers me, it really bothers me. And anime does this so much, and I get it. They want to just save money and not animate a whole bunch. They just want characters to spew out truckloads and Tetris blocks load of dialogue. But man, that you have to chill. This is why, like, I joked with Mike about this when we talked about Godzilla Singular Point. All the characters talk like this. And I made a joke just saying, like, I just wanted to know if you wanted Arby's or not.
That reminds me of a joke. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but this ending reminds me of like how Devilman ends, because Devilman as a franchise always seems to end on a fairly cynical note of just humanity just being gone. Mm-hmm. But at least Devilman basically pulls a whole restart, because it's like, hey, let's give humanity another chance. Humanity sucks, but let's give it another chance. Starts all the way over. Here it's just like, well, Shinji, the world is flooded. There's a giant crater in the earth, but you're okay.
Yeah. I have to ask though, and you have seen End of Evangelion. You have seen this before, Cameron, right? It's just been
either
while.
A long time ago, or I do not remember.
Okay, either way, Mike. So I was saying, if this is a fresh thing, were you expecting to go into a good 3 to 4 minute live action sequence?
I thought, like, when they cut to like the theater, that was going to be like kind of like the live reaction of like of the audience after some film, maybe Death and Rebirth. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting that to last like an entire 3 minutes.
You know what my favorite part of that whole scene is? they go like there's the empty theater. They go through like the train going along. They go through the people shuffling through what I'm going to assume is modern day Tokyo at that time, and then they go through all this stuff, and then it cuts back to the theater, and it's got the people in it, and everyone is stationary except for that one guy that is going out of his way to move his arm and just make all sorts of signals, and like all these other people are clearly looking at him like he's not supposed to be doing this.
Well, I saw
like,
one guy.
Like, they're all giving like the side eye. They're like, one person's literally just like.
Yep. I saw one guy go like.
Yeah. All the three people next to him in his row were like, "Dude, we're not supposed to move."
Oh, this reminds me of when we were shooting the theater sequences in Gunstringer. We all had to stay still just in case. And then react perfectly whenever we were told to. So it's just why did it go to live action? What was the thematic
and the weird part is like
it kind of makes sense to me, but I kind of get it.
Back, they ask what dreams are.
They're like little head movies. That's what they are. Or
yeah, and
whatever.
It's like there's this place that's far away, and then like at the end, they never make it clear that he's talking to his mom until after the thing is over. It sounds like he's not having that conversation with her, which is weird.
Yeah.
And I guess him getting closer with his mom is something cool. But and then like the big ray falls over. But I will say before we get away from it, and it's the background of the scene, one of my favorite visuals from all of Evangelion is all of the angel spikes just popping up over the horizon as it's flooded.
Oh yeah.
That is insane.
I like the visual.
So cool.
I liked the visual with Shinji in the playground, and he like makes the pyramid thing and then crushes it and then goes back to remaking it. I thought that was a cool shot. Like like whatever complaints I have, this is a visual experience kind of movie, even if the dialogue is so dense.
There was points where I got tired.
It's a lot.
Thinking of the animators who were animating it, especially it was towards the end when he gets inside of Ray.
Hold on, Archer. Hey, phrasing.
when he gets inside the angel with Ray, and I gotta remember exactly how to describe this. When they're going through like the instrumentality and memories of people, and they're going second by second with frames of stuff, and also you have that weird string following through it, and it's just flashing through images like 100 miles per hour.
Yep.
Most of them was new stuff and like reanimated things, and I'm just like, how the hell did your animators not just tell you to like go to hell, Ano?
What that was amazing. That was impressive, but it went by too fast for me to actually notice that was all. Some of that was new. Like
some of it was new. I didn't recognize it unless I just forgot. I
was a little mentally drained by the end, and then of course it's like, well, there's a giant freakish Ray head way off in the distance, and now I'm stuck here with Asuka. I'm going to strangle her, and then she touches my face, and then I break down. And the last freaking word is what, pathetic. Like disgusting or pathetic?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and it's like, okay, all right, that's how you want to end your movie. All right,
it's a weird place to end after. Before that, like I said, the experience was far more satisfying than. I always laugh every time I think of congratulations.
Way to go!
The best part
Shinji.
is when it gets to not Toji. Is it Toji?
I think.
When it gets in the original, I don't remember who does it, but I believe when it gets to everyone says congratulations, except when it goes to Toji, he says good job. Like everyone got it except him.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a good ending for what the story was trying to do, or like the emotional core of it was, but also it's like that kind of sucks. So they have to basically wait until apparently it's like, oh, everyone can come back. They just want to come back, and Okay. All right.
They need to find their true selves.
I'm just kind of glad to be done with this version of Evangelion. I don't know if I'm. I don't know. I kind of like the movie though. Like I think I like
Yeah.
this the most outside of like the actual show, or at least the first half of the show.
Mhm.
But then I'm so frustrated with it still though.
Yeah, because the ending still seems kind of hobble-jobbed. Like they didn't quite know how they wanted it to end. Like they worked in a bunch of the shit that they never mentioned in the show, so
Mhm.
that's a good thing.
You
They
know,
got really close
for
to
one
it.
thing, we get to see the mechas.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, first of all, kudos to Gendo for being able to sustain the fact that he just lost his hand and not just writhe in pain.
He just no sells it. He's just like, that's unfortunate. And he just
Like,
lays
what?
on the ground. The best part is he loses his hand and he just lays on the ground and goes, "Yeah, I don't understand why women liked me."
Golly, this
But
franchise.
I'm both terrified and aroused to start these rebuild films.
I'm excited.
One thing we should
Yeah.
note is the dub is going to be significantly different.
Hey,
God,
Cameron,
another dub.
Cameron, share some news that you brought up in our chat yesterday.
Okay. There are 6 different dubs for Evangelion.
So you got
You got the ADV dub. You then had the Funimation one, which uses both Funimation and ADV actors. So that means you'll hear Spike Spencer. And then you have the Netflix dub.
Yep.
Then, of course, you have the original Japanese dub. And then you have the Amazon dub, which should be just like, we just dragged everyone out of the ADV dub to put them back into. Apparently, that's what the final film is going to use.
Okay.
Even though they had a properly okay, like, cast to use either for the Netflix dub. And that's kind of a bummer because Shinji's voice actor in the Netflix dub is non-binary, and I thought that was kind of cool to have a.
Shinji and the Netflix dub is amazing.
I know. I don't know if I'm
acting.
ready to hear Spike Spencer try to play Shinji again after decades of not, or a decade or so of not playing.
Yeah, I don't.
Playing him. I guess there's a legal issue about why they can't use the actors from the Netflix incarnation.
It's
It would have been so much easier if Netflix had the rights to all of Evangelion, but I guess there must be some sort of difference between like the rebuild films and the main series because as we know, Gynex has been like Gynex pretty much only exists to be Ava.
Yeah, and the problem with that is, I think, honestly, I'm being real here, if they would have gotten that last Ava film done, and it would have just been on like Crunchyroll or something, I honestly think that if they could have worked it out, the deal would have been made for absolutely everything. Because then it would be a whole, and then they would have came it over. But now it's like part of it's there, part of it's still being worked on. This was just like, we're going to grab all the chunks of everything that is one, and that's these films and the series. It was probably the easiest way to navigate it, honestly.
Probably. And it just reminds me how weird it is, like when Sentai Filmarks is releasing dubs from like Netflix or Amazon shows, they can't use the dub from those shows, so they have to spend the money to make an entirely different dub for the physical home release. And it's like,
it's so confusing.
I wish I understood legal stuff more, because I guess it's a legal thing. That's the only explanation, other than that, like, or otherwise, like, some of these recording studios are just like the most spiteful motherfuckers around.
Part of me thinks it's that, because it's only ever the dubs that have to switch.
So now it's like Netflix will have an entirely different dub for like the Baki series, but then when it hits home release by Sentai Filmarks, it's going to have an entirely different dub. And
You know what else this reminds me of? How many different dubs there are for like all the different Lupin the Third movies or series.
at least they recently started to realize, like, hey, people like the Gideon dub with Tony Oliver, Richard Epcar, Lex Lang, and Michelle Ruff.
Mhm.
As
Yeah, now
now
that's like,
it's more uniformal because then there was that weird time period when Funimation had all the Lupin specials and films,
mhm.
and they just had an entirely different dub cast. And then they try to do the woman named Fujiko Mine thing, and they bring back Richard Epcar, but he's definitely not Jigen. He's Zenigata. And then the spinoffs of those still use Richard Epcar. And then they do the thing where they bring back Lex Lang as Goemon. And it's like, so you can bring... I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love Keith Silverstein and Christina V as like Fujiko and Lupin. They're great, but whatever.
Yeah, I get it. It's different things, and it's going to be, especially after watching all this, then going back. I mean, I suppose it won't be as jarring because for the first three, depending on exactly how different that last one is, I guess it's going to be the new animation style is definitely going to help with getting over the voice actor change.
Oh yeah, I'll be fine.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it's going to be kind of weird getting to the last one, depending on how much it changes.
Oh yeah.
Well, when are these films dropping? Like, are they redubbing all of the?
I don't think the first three need to be redubbed.
I honestly don't know.
It's these freaking movies and man.
Don't worry. We're going to do, and I keep thinking this is like, Micah suggested something, Cameron suggested something. I'm basically laying off because the next thing I want to do is a mech show that like carry all this off because it's the bastard child of this and Gurren. So that's gonna wait.
I do want to see that one soon, but we've got some other stuff.
We got some other stuff to go. It's like we need to do something boilerplate, simple after this.
That's why I wanted to do. That's why I wanted to do Dygard. It's such a straightforward giant robot anime.
I know, we need to do something that doesn't have robots in it either. That's the problem.
No.
Otherwise, I would just say, fuck it, we're doing Darling and get it over with. But we'll figure it out. But yeah, for the most part, outside of, again, it's really good until it gets to the part of where they're like techno biblical babble for 40 minutes. This is a beautiful, much better put together version of the end of Evangelion, because it is the end of Evangelion. And then, like, I also forgot that they put a mid credits in this.
I called
that
it.
was
I
great.
called it the credits intermission.
The credits intermission, where it's like, this is a movie, but by the way, I'm just redoing 25 and 26. Yeah, we got that when you started it directly after 24. We understood that.
No, that was funny to me because I was just like, "What the hell happened here?" It's like, at least like the Goemon stuff. I mean, not the Goemon, the Lupin the Third stuff that follows up the woman called Fujiko Mine. At least those were TV specials that were split up into 2 30-minute segments. At least I understand when they had a mid credits break between those two.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it here in the movie? In this movie, and I don't know, just a small personal thing I found funny was when they were going through like the song parts, I guess, and then I just saw in the credits something. It's like something.
Nice. So what it reminded me of instantly was like self-panic in myself every now and then when I do this, or when I watch people's videos on channels every now and then, where it's like, the subject and what they're going to talk about is probably only about 10 minutes long. And then you get to it and it's just black and it's like, oh, they were chopping something and accidentally left something about 20 minutes down on the left of their editing wheel and then condensed it and printed out, but forgot to take that off. So the whole video is just 20 minutes of black at the end.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Because I pulled that stupid move before.
Anyway, I had fun with this movie. I like the journey now, just watching all of the original Evangelion stuff. I'm glad to have watched it still. I mean, yeah, I don't like all of it, but I still enjoyed like this last bit of it. So
what we could talk a little bit, I guess, here since we've got like a couple minutes before this hits an hour. And I have 15 minutes before I got to something else. What are some parts that are in the original show that you want to be in the rebuild films?
Good question.
Good
Because-
animation.
Well, that's kind of obvious.
I know.
Budget.
And I know that's going to be a thing because
yeah.
I've seen it looks pretty. I guess I want to see just more quieter moments of just the characters just being able to breathe and not just be at each other's throats.
Mhm.
I want to see Rey not in a hellhole of an apartment.
Yeah.
And I've seen the first film. I don't remember if I've seen the second one, but I've seen the first one, but it's been like a long time ago. So
There is a moment that is in the show that I love that I have seen the movie version of it, and that is the only thing for the new movies that I have seen. And I won't spoil it, but I am so happy that it's in it.
I want to see
pretty.
I want to see more Pen.
Yes.
I am
Or
happy.
Pen.
I am happy that she said goodbye to Pen in her very last thing. I'm like, you damn right. If you're gonna say goodbye to Kaji, you're saying goodbye to Pen.
Pen only shows up for like a split second in the movie. You know,
I also love that they didn't just get some rando to do it. Apparently, in the Netflix dub, if the information I said was right, is Jeremy Lee voices Pen. I'm like, did you do one recording session for the whole 26 episodes? Like, Jeremy Lee is awesome. Like, she was Pen.
I don't know. That's the problem with this show. I know there are scenes that I like. I just can't remember specific ones.
Yeah, and like, man, there's moments where I know I don't want to see, and they probably won't be in it for the sake of time. And for those that don't know, I'm when we're redoing these, you'll know obviously because you would have seen all of them by this time. Like we've only uploaded 2 episodes of the show at this current moment. Next it'll be up in a few days, but I'm coming up with little weird episode titles of ourselves. And the one that I came up with for the episode where Rey and Asuka are in the school for the first time and everyone's going nuts is Thirst Impact. And I'm pretty damn proud of that.
I like that.
I like that.
So as far as what I don't want to see in the rebuild, just don't acknowledge that episode 4 exists. Just don't.
I think they kind of do.
And the best part is I was just like, man, you just had to show a theater one more time in this movie.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, I don't want that either. But there's gonna be like, have him run away. Just don't have it be as stupid as drawn out as that. And only have him run away once.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I want to see a little more humanity to these characters, even though that's kind of funny because again, it's just like, I have no humanity. I traded it for a Snickers.
I traded it for a Snickers and my massive dog.
I don't regret it. No, I don't know. I'm just ready to see how the story unfolds.
And I want to. I'm curious to see like the deviations that the rebuild films take from the original source material.
What they see as important to keep.
Yeah, like I don't know what I want to see. I guess like either maybe tone down some of the characters. Like Asuka's a little too abrasive, but I know that's not going to happen because she's like the tsundere archetype. But
yeah, something does happen to her. She gets Metal Gear Solided.
Yeah, I know about that. I know about that.
That's the only thing I know.
No, I know there's like I know the third film takes a huge just leap into like something, and then all I know is people have been like, "Yeah, I enjoyed the movie, but I kind of want to know what's going on."
Yeah, exactly. And it's like we all watched that trailer. It's like there's a straight up Gundam like in parts of it. And then there's characters that I have no freaking clue who they are. And like the only thing I've been told is that there is a time skip in these films to where
that makes sense.
Where the characters are legal in their 20s.
Maybe that's one reason why they're bringing back the classic cast.
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
And again,
I mean,
I'm
gonna
could be
miss
lied
it.
to, but I saw a lot of people say that.
I mean, I'm gonna miss this Netflix cast because I thought they were great. Johnny Young Bosch, notwithstanding, with sounding a little too old to play Toji, but even though I love you, Johnny Young Bosch.
I do too. I would give everything to Johnny if he asked me.
Yeah, no. Like, give me your wallet. Here, fine.
Here's my bank account, my social security. I love you, Nero.
Yeah. But let's wrap this up. It's an hour. Jesus.
It is. Yeah.
So final thoughts.
How's the seatbelt hanging before you get on a different connecting flight to go home?
To the rebuild films.
Yeah.
A little bit of a rough landing, but we made it to our destination in one piece.
Yeah, we did. I don't know what that piece is, but
Like I said, a rough experience going through wonky storytelling and kind of knowing behind the scenes stuff. That barely a film recap film. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with this show. I mean, this was fun to do.
yes.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that I take away from this. Just like getting the chance to experience it with you guys made it worth it.
The best, yeah, exactly. Getting some fresh retrospective and me remembering some of the stuff. Man, I straight up forgot about the masturbation stuff. But like, yeah. Let's hope that's forgotten. Yeah, it was fun to relive, and now it's going to be really weird because for the most part, outside of the first film, this is all going to be fresh for everyone.
Can't wait.
And yeah, it's going to be something else. But let's get the hell on out of here. Mike or Cameron, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/CamsEyeView or at CamsEyeView. I have my own website called camseyeView.biz where I review animated films and shows called The Other Side of Animation. I also am the co-host of the Renegade Animation Podcast on renegadepopculture.com. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/CamsEyeView. That's where you can find me.
Mike.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. Look for us on Podchaser. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need to escape? So do we.
Absolutely, and we are escaped out of this chunk of Evangelion and onto hopefully pastures greener with the new stuff. So I don't know. I honestly don't know how I'm going to think when we get onto the next chunk, but we will see you all there. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.